Hello, so today we're going to be going over a multi-striker reroll game, specifically with Anger Issues. Now, Anger Issues is one of those fun augments. I remember when I first saw it, that's something that I looked at the game and I said, that's a really interesting and fun augment. Like, you get something that you kind of play towards a line that really uses it. So it was something that I was really looking forward to, and it's been pretty trash for most of the set. I think there's like a fine line between it being like super duper broken and it being like not so good. It got a little bit buffed or like, adjusted a little bit over the last patch, and now it's starting to actually turn out to be really, really good in certain situations, as well as with certain comps. I think like some of the lines that it works really well with is a Cassiopeia Syndra line, and it works really, really well with Multistrikers. So if we look at my current board, I think this is at augment pick right now. I'm kind of angling towards like an Ashe Jax reroll from this spot. It's not necessarily the best spot for Ashe Jax. I just have a lot of I have a Multistriker opener, and I'll try to decide like how I can really camp on my board if I find a couple of extra copies of Jax's and Ashes. I'm kind of down to just play towards the line. Here I just take a support item. Support items are very, very good with this comp. Something like Moonstone Gem is going to give a lot of survivability, and this comp is very, very much about survivability and having your Ashe ramp up. Your Jax is really good at tanking and just dueling auxiliary damage. You might end up with a lot of 3 stars, so having them live very long is very strong. It's very strong for your comp, and then you want to eventually play towards like this Ashe basically ramping up a Guinsoo of some sort. Now, what I would suggest here is that this isn't necessarily the best spot to play this comp. Obviously, like, I'm not sure exactly why I decided on this comp in particular in this particular game. I think it just worked out that I hit a bunch of the units later, so I just committed to the reroll and hoped that my items would work out. You should never really angle yourself towards Ashe unless you're starting the game off with a Guinsoo. Guinsoo is so important for Ashe, so that's the item that you make with a rod, so the purple circle and the bow, you put them together, you make a Guinsoo. Ashe, now they made her, she's really broken, she's really strong, and it's very annoying, honestly. I don't really prefer the way Ashe is balanced right now. I kind of liked her, even like last patch, I think it was a little bit better. But now, Ashe basically, once she hits a certain point, she will then start shooting out 3 bullets. And you want to make her ramp up to such a point where then she's just like absolutely like destroying the entire team. And that's why you really need the Guinsoo. You need to have like this type of ramp up, and if you don't have the ramp up and the attack speed on the Ashe, it might not work out that well. Anyways, not much further ado, make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content. I'm working on guides. Sorry, I think I said a couple times that they were going to be out by now. I'm just working on some adjustments because things changed a little bit in the stats on 1 or 2 of my PowerPoints. But I'm going to work on those, so there should be some guides out tomorrow. So today is just going to be a VOD review again. And the first thing I just want to show you in general, just this comp. A little bit of the tutorial on what it is that I'm playing and what I'm talking about, just in case you haven't seen it. It is pretty common though, and I think even in I think no matter what your elo is, it's something that's very appealing because it's a 1-cost reroll, and those are typically things that are a lot more appealing regardless of your skill level, because it's a lot easier to play because you reroll early on, less decisions that can stockpile and go wrong. But basically, you're just trying to play towards 7 Multistriker. That is your max cap. You always want to play 7 Multistriker. And then you're just picking who to reroll. Usually, you'll just play 7 Multistriker plus Shen. Shen gives Bastion as well as Pyro. And then there's many different variations of this comp. A lot of times, you will see the Ashe and the Jax reroll to 3 stars. Earlier in the set, there was the Kassadin and Akali reroll, where you Kassadin and Akali 3-star. That one fell out of favor a lot. Kassadin got small nerfs. Kassadin's still really, really good in my opinion. I think Kassadin's fine. The problem is Akali's fucking trash. Akali got nerfed a lot, and the main reason she got nerfed wasn't because of this comp in particular. It's mostly because with Pyro. If you play 5 Pyro and you have an Akali 3, she will delete the entire board for free. When you give her Execute, she's actually a demon. Without Execute though, the Akali isn't that great, and you can't really fit in 5 Pyro and the Multistriker. So a lot of times when you're playing this comp, you're not really going for Akali 3. Instead, you're kind of just like playing any Akali you can. And then the other demon in this comp is Hecarim. A lot of times you can play towards Hecarim 3. I made a video about it before, and I'm sure it was somewhat popular on my channel, so maybe you found out my channel because of that video. But Hecarim with Unleash the Beast, even without Unleash the Beast, you could just build like this type of build where you give him a QSS so he doesn't get stunned. And Hecarim reroll is very, very strong. So what you'll find yourself doing a lot of the time is that you will roll on level 5. You will have a board that basically looks something like this. where you have a Hecarim, a Kali Kassadin, and none of these other units. You'll basically just play like a 5 multi-striker board like this. A lot of times you're going to roll for Ashe 3 and Jax 3. Now, I'm not sure what the best Jax items are. It's a little bit weird, but a lot of the times you're doing something like Bloodthirster and then whatever items you can. You're not really prioritizing Jax items a lot of the times. You're mostly prioritizing Ashe items. And Ashe, you either want to have 1 or 2 Gwinsus, and you like a good build that if you're just going for like item economy is something like Gwinsu Runaan's Last Whisper, because you get your Sundering, so you reduce their armor resist. You get Last Whisper, so you just hits a bunch of extra units, and then the Gwinsu to ramp up. But you can build pretty much anything. A lot of times even double Gwinsu is really good. Basically, as soon as Ashe hits her first cast, basically for the rest of combat, she'll just fire an extra bullet at a nearby enemy. At some point, it looks like she's attacking 3 units at once. So if you get your Gwinsu stacks really, really high, she'll just absolutely delete the health bar of the entire board so long as the fight stalls out long enough. And then you just want to always cap out around 7 multi-striker because it gives your board so much survivability. So that's usually what you're aiming for. And then you can also play towards an itemized Callista 2 and something else like that. If you don't know what this comp though, this is what I wanted to show you though. If you have Ashe 3 and Jax 3 and you're playing around this comp, if you look at what the best augments are for this comp, one of them that comes up that's a little bit surprising, like obviously these are good on most comps, and Unleash the Beast, that's like Hecarim reroll, which is what I was talking about before. You'll see that Anger Issue comes up a lot. Now Anger Issue, if you read it, what it does, it turns all your items into Rage Blades. Now the Rage Blades grant 35 armor and magic resist, and they also grant attack damage and ability power. Now Jax scales really, really well off of ability power. I'll go here to show you. Jax scales really well off ability power because he gains armor based off how much AP he has. He also deals magic damage that's based off his AP, but also he deals bonus magic damage based on the armor that he has. So he has like this like self-fulfilling thing where like self-feeding damage, kind of, where if you give him a bunch of AP, he'll gain a bunch of armor, and then that armor also translates to additional damage because he gains bonus armor, which he does bonus magic damage. But also like armor items are good on him. That's why he's very flexible with his items, and you don't necessarily want to greed all the time. But because the Gwinsu gives you stacking ability power as well as starting 35 armor and MR, it works really well on the Jax. And the Ashe, like I was saying before, she just does a huge amount of damage with all of the extra Gwinsus. If you just triple Gwinsu her, it's really good. So even though Anger Issues itself, if we go into augments, for example, and we just sort by prismatics, and we go Anger Issues, you'll see that it averages pretty low. It's like a 4.6. There's points where it's a little bit better, but it's usually only with this comp that it's actually good. The reason it's bad on a lot of comps, you'll see that like if we scroll through, it's like in the bottom half of the prismatics, right? So it's typically considered to be one of the weaker prismatics to take. And the reason is that in most comps, if you're making all your items into Gwinsus, you're giving up the opportunity to make armor sundering, sundering, shredding, depending on what type of damage you're doing, as well as anti-heal. You lose the ability to do all of those utility items, and those are really, really important in a lot of comps. Now, because Ashe is so fucking broken, and Jax scales so well off the Gwinsus, specifically in the in this type of comp, you get so much value off of it that it doesn't matter. And that's what this game is going to kind of show you, is that I kind of end up taking it because it's something I studied and I saw on the stats, and I said, hey, I know about this. If I'm playing towards this line, I can take it and it should be good. So now let's go back to the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to hit Anger Issues here, if I'm going to hit it later. I didn't get my Gwinsu. I didn't get dropped a single rod in the game. I made a redemption on Jax. It's not the worst item for him, but it's not the best item. It doesn't give AP, it doesn't give armor and MR, so it's not good for his scaling. It's just good for like survivability and tanking. As you can see, slower than a grandma on a Sunday morning, my Ashe is not ramping up that attack speed like the Ashe you know and love. Gwinsu is absolutely essential on her, and I don't have it yet. That's why I'm not slamming any other items. I'm kind of sitting to wait to see what I can slam here. But I'm looking for, anything that can get a rod, even a radiant item, anything to give a bunch of attack speed to this Ashe. But as we roll through all of these, I find Anger Issues. Now, Giant and Mighty was pretty good, but I think because of my spot with my items, not getting dropped a rod. I had the bow. I took the bow off Carousel. And I had a second bow dropped. I just never got the rod, so I wasn't able to make the Gwinsu. So I was a little bit stressed about that. But instead, we just take Anger Issues. And this was something that I learned about, so I'm totally down to play it. And you're going to see that depending on how this game is, I don't know if it works out to be a high roll game or a low roll game. Here, I just stack my items, 1 on Jax and 2 on the Ashe. I'm just worried that I don't have enough frontline, especially with this single copy of Jax. And I wasn't rolling that much because I wasn't sure if I was committed to this line. As you can see, I only had 1 Ashe and I only had 1 Jax. I wasn't committed to the reroll right away. I do have a couple Kassadin, so I was thinking maybe I can play around Kassadin reroll and keep the Multistriker. I was in a pretty flexible spot, and I was going to debate, you know, maybe I was going to play Callista this game, for example. But instead, what ends up happening is because I had anger issues, I say, okay, I guess I'm just rerolling Ashe. It's not the best spot for reroll Ashe. Typically, by now, you want to have a lot of copies of the units. You'll see, like, when you play games, for example, and you see somebody in your lobby and they have Ashe Jax reroll, a lot of times they already have Ashe 3 Jax 3 by now, right? It's 3-2. A lot of times you roll down 3-1 and you hit at least one of them, or you find multiple copies of them. Me, I didn't find any copies on stage 2, so I decided that I was going to maybe play around a flexible board, maybe go level 8. But because I had anger issues, I decided, hey, let me try this out for science at least. And I'm just going to reroll all the Multistrikers if I can't play the items on Jax. Kassadin has decent scaling off the Gwinsus as well, so I'm down to put them on the Gwinsus on the Kassadin. I have 2 removers anyways, so I'm just holding on to everybody. I have a Callista, I have 2 Kassadins, but the essential part is the Ashe. That's why I'm rolling a little bit deeper. It just so happened that I found a Callista, so I don't make econ here. I'm only making 40 gold instead of 50 gold, but it's fine. Now, that being said, hopefully the whole explanation wasn't too overbearing. I tried to explain every facet of it. Now we'll just focus on watching the game, and I'll kind of say my decision from round to round and what I'm doing to try and cap out my board. Like I said, this isn't the best multi-striker spot, but I'm very confident based on looking at what I interpret in the stats and how I interpret the augment, that this is a good spot for this comp. This comp is very, very strong. It does require a little bit of high rolling. You should never really play it if you're in a spot like how I was in, where I didn't have Ashe and I didn't have Jax. I don't have a lot of copies of them, because then you're going to spend too much time being at a low level, and you really want to cap out around 7 multi-striker. You really want to level up so you can find that Camille. This comp is really strong when you hit Ashe 3, Jax 3, then you could level to 7, and then you can even roll for like Hecarim 3. You can just stay on level 7 and roll, and then as soon as you find a Camille, you level to 8, pop in Camille, boom, you're done, your board's strong as shit, right? That's typically how this board is played. Obviously, I kind of stumbled my way into this board, so, you know, I'll be honest there about that. But yeah, we can watch through it, and it's still a learning experience, and you can see for yourself how strong it is, and then gauge if you want to try it out in your games and how that works. It's more for like knowledge, if anything. I know I'm sure somebody is gonna make a rage joke about me, how I'm always like bitching on my stream, because that's usually happening when I'm playing TFT. I would like you to know that I posted it as well today. I am now doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke on stream because of the bug that kind of pissed me off. I really don't want to play TFT if the game is as bugged as it is right now. That's my prerogative. Obviously, you can play as much as you want if you think that it's not an issue. For me, it's just not fun to have to worry about that. So I'm taking a little break from TFT. Like I said, I'm still going to upload videos. I'm working on guides. And we're doing Pokemon Nuzlocks. We're doing basically all variety content. I'm going to try and do some other stuff as well. Some more interesting things as I'm trying to plan for the next couple days. But yeah, so if you want to see variety content from your favorite Talkin' Doggo, you can stop by the Twitch channel whenever you want. And we're playing Pokemon XD. It's one of the hardest Pokemon games ever made. It's a legit make game. It's not like a ROM hack. It's a GameCube game that came out 20 years ago. And the first thing that I ever streamed when I first started doing content, well, the first thing I streamed was my tournament runs. I used to compete in Melee. So I streamed myself playing in a Melee tournament. Then I streamed myself in a Guilty Gear tournament because I started playing Guilty Gear a bunch. And then after that, when I was starting to stream regularly, I wasn't just booting up stream just for recording my tournament runs. I started streaming Pokemon XD, and that's how this whole streaming thing started many years ago. So it's kind of like a little throwback to that, because I was talking about it on stream, and I had some chatters suggesting that maybe I play the Nuzlocke again. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna redo history the same way 3 years ago I was able to beat it in the God Run. I'm gonna try and do a God Run again, and that's what's happening on my Twitch right now. But in the meanwhile, I'm still going to keep up to date with the stats and everything. I'm still going to keep up to date with TFT, so I can still give meaningful content to everybody else. It's just too tilting between the patch, which I don't super enjoy the way this patch kind of worked its way out. I don't really like this play style of TFT in general. That feels very forcing in early game, and there's very little like flex later, or at least in my opinion. So, you know, I'm already not having fun like that, and then I'm getting hit with like these fucking game-losing bugs. I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna take a break for a couple days here, until Riot decides to fix it. But anyways, now that I talked about what else is going on, we're gonna go here. I need to roll down. It's 4-1, and I don't have my 3 stars yet. I really need to hit this Ashe, because I'm kind of committed towards this Ashe line now that I have these Rage Blades. The Ashe scale is so hard that if I hit Ashe 3, I will probably be really strong. I think I'm 2 off of Ashe. I'm not buying these Cassidans as well, which kind of sucks. I could have easily hit Cassidin 3 here. Oh, no. It's such a bad roll down. I'm 1 off Ashe. Great. Level 5, 20 gold. Like, doesn't this look like the worst spot imaginable? I'm 1 off Jax, 1 off Ashe. This is what I was saying before. You should never, ever play this comp from the spot that I was in. And I wasn't planning on playing this comp from the spot I was in. It's just because I hit anger issues, right? If I didn't hit anger issues, I was probably going to lean towards something like just playing Kalista, right? I made a Last Whisper, Kalista, or Varus, or something like that. Because I still had the Multistrikers start, so it's not that hard of a pivot. I would have probably pushed levels, play Kalista, then like when I hit Rakan and the other units, swap them out and play Fairy. That was probably my my bet, or what I wanted to do. Here I hit Support Golem. Support Golem is really good. It's good on every comp. It's almost always a must take. So we take Support Golem. I roll. I finally hit them both. They're both in the same shop. A little bit of a high roll, but it is what it is. And I'm debating where I put my Golem. My Golem contributes a lot to the front line, but at the same time, the starting attack speed and the gem will make my back line very strong. Now, this is the part of the video where I just want to show you the relative power of this comp with this augment. Pay attention to the Ashe, and you'll see how much damage she pumps out and why it actually works here. Usually with anger issues, you'll find that it's not that good. Unless you have, because like I said before, you lose the ability to have anti-heal and you lose the ability to have sundering and shred. Now, imagine if my support golem had something like Eternal Flame where I can get anti-heal. That would have been very, very high roll. I would have been extremely strong. But in this case, I just have Gem, which equates to more damage, and Banshees, which is like anti-stun. It's like CC control, right? If you look at this Ashe, you see how many bullets she's shooting? I'm doing damage to the entire board, right? Even though my front line died, my units aren't that upgraded and they're kind of weak, this Ashe just deleted the entire board. And that's what usually happens, right? Typically, this doesn't necessarily work if you don't have triple, like it's hard to get triple Guinsoo on Ashe, obviously. I don't think it's that good outside this setup. The Guinsoo's every 2 attacks also stack that she gets more AP and AD. So she's not only ramping up in attack speed and attacking multiple units, she's also increasing the amount of damage she does per hit with the augment. So it works out tremendously well. It's insanely good, specifically in this comp. I think the Cassiopeia line is also playable with anger issues. The Cassiopeia line that I'm talking about is you play Syndra, Cassiopeia, and then you play vertical shapeshifters. I think it's playable. I don't think it's that good though. I tried it out. It was not as it wasn't as like win clause as this, is what I mean to say, right? I think that it could work. I have faith in it. I just don't think it's that good. I've seen anger issues work really well with like hunters, I think, like Olaf. And it works in like some other situations, but like those ones are so niche that it's hard to like say that's good, you know what I mean? Like it's good on Olaf as well, but like the board to support that is usually a lot more niche. This is like the general like, yeah, this is fucking broken, right? But anyways, like I said, so with the augment, this was a very good decision to play towards this line because I already had like the foundation for it. But like I said, you should always be cognizant of your position. You should always angle yourself towards a 1-cost reroll only if you have multiple copies of the reroll. I will state that over and over again because I don't want to be spreading like false information. I don't want you to say just hard force it, like you hit anger issues, hard force it. This was a little bit of a risky decision. As you can see, I am a little bit behind. Based on my level and the amount of gold that I have, I'm level 6, 30 gold, and it's stage 4. I don't expect to win this game. I will be stronger than most people for a while now, but I will not win this game. The chances are I will go 3rd or 4th this game. It's just because of how resources work. I use too many resources to hit this board. It's going to take me a while to reestablish my econ, to level, to play my board properly. But I am just super stable and super strong, right? There's very few people, unless they roll to straight to 0 and hit literally every unit. There's pretty much nobody that will be able to beat me right now. But everybody that is able to greed up and take their board and make a stronger board eventually will be stronger. Right, so for example, this guy, right? This guy has very little gold, level 8, playing Hunter. He sent it, right? He used all of his gold. He made as strong a board as possible because he has low HP and he's scared that he's gonna die. He beats me because he invested his gold into his board, and his board, as a result, is stronger. These are boards that are gonna beat me because we're in the same spot, me and this guy, except he just has more units. That's kind of like the vibe. There's a lot of other people, though, that will be greeting econ, won't have hit a board, will have some units that are unupgraded, for example, and then I will absolutely tear through them because I have a very, very good, like, combination of units that is working out. Also, in that fight, I felt like it was bad to have my support golem not in the front line. I would rather just frontline my support golem. I think that as much as it might seem like, oh, you put banshees on this, you know, the gem, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think support golem, the way you should always look at support golem is sometimes there's cheesy little tricks, like you hide your golem in the corner or you put him in the back row. 9 out of 10 times, it's better just to have the support golem contribute to the front line. It's a unit. It's a tanky unit, right? Sometimes the items aren't that good to put in the front line, but a lot of times it's just better to have an extra frontline unit. This guy's also strong as shit, by the way. Is that Katarina 3? No, it's a Katarina 2. Just fairy guy. Yeah, this is what I was saying, right? Like, we're stable. We lost the last 2 fights. It's towards the end of stage 4. We still can spike quite a bit. If we can level and play 7 Multistriker, for example, we can win out. Our next level up, we're probably going to play Arcana. Because we just put in Tom Kench. And we get free damage reduction or HP, whichever we choose. But some of these other boards, like for example this board, right? Shyvana doesn't really do that much damage unless he's playing towards Vertical Dragon or he's playing the Dragon Hero Augment thing, whatever you want to call it. That's a board that I can probably beat. I'm also going to spike now because I'm going to get an extra item here, which is really nice. I can probably make a 3rd item on Jax. And this is really funny because I made a Guinsoo. I had to sell the dude. It didn't pop off. Yeah, so I'm going to lose the support item off the Jax. I'm going to triple item my Jax with another triple Guinsoo. I don't need a frying pan. It would have been nice if I waited a turn because instead of making a Guinsoo, I could have made a Multistriker +1. That happens to me a lot, but at the same time, it's a lot of gold investments, so it's a little bit difficult. Here, my goal now is to make it to level 7. I'm playing make it to level 8, sorry. The Zillion that I'm playing is for Chrono. Chrono synergizes with the Jax, which will make it so that I can, what's it called? You get some healing. Sorry, this guy here. But this guy, for example, as long as I can ramp up my Guinsoo, I should be able to beat him. I don't think I will, though. Yeah, it's a little bit far behind. We're losing a lot of these fights, even though I didn't necessarily think I would. It might be better just to put in Arcana now. I could have bought this Ari and play Arcana. I just need a little bit more stability. I think we'll still end up top 4. It's a little bit closer of a call than I would have liked, and that's just because I played it from a bad spot. It took me way too much gold to hit this Ashe and this Jax. Like, if I can make it to level 8, it's a guaranteed top 4. Probably a 4th by now, right? Because I think there's 3 people that are stronger than me. So it's probably a 4th. But like I said, we weren't playing this from the best spot. A lot of times, you have to already be playing towards Ashe and Jax, and then if you hit anger issues, you can take it. That's like the idea behind it. Like I said, I started out with very few Ashes, very few Jaxes. So we're not expected to win all of these. We won quite a few fights in stage 4, even despite being level 6. This fight, I think we win, though, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. As long as we stall out long enough, if we stall out long enough for the Ashe, then we'll punish people like this. Like this guy's greeting. He's holding a bunch of gold. He's trying to go level 9. These are the people that we easily just clap. We just beat them. Right? It's if the Ashe gets to a certain point where she's damaging like 3 or 4 of the backline units and the front line's dead, they're just getting melted. She attacks too fast. She pumps out way too much damage. Plus the Guinsu stacks. The Guinsu stacks get high enough. She gains a bunch of AD and AP, which then scales her autos even more. So it's just chalked, right? But like I said, we should pretty reliably get a 4th here. That's pretty much all we were playing towards. If we were already playing Jax, if we were already playing Jax Ashe and we had a Jax 3 Ashe 3, you know, or we had a good setup for Jax 3 Ashe 3, then we would obviously be a lot more powerful here. Now here's another thing that I want to show you. This is a bug that I found. Another bug, by the way, this happens a lot. I find that it happened to me twice when I had support golems. So I don't know what the bug is, but look, I bought a charm. I bought leadership here. And then I moved my unit. And then it said that I had too many units on the board. This happened multiple times when I have a support golem. Look at this. My bench is full. You must put away a unit. So I don't have 8 out of 7. I'm level 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units on my board. So the game is forcing me to take a unit off the fucking board. Right? I don't know why. So now I just lose Chrono. I either have to lose Chrono or I have to lose like Akali or something. I should have probably taken Akali off the board. Well, you know, fuck me, I guess. Right? It's stuff like this that it's like, okay, like, would I have won this fight with Chrono? Probably not, but I would have lost by less units. It could help, right? The thing that matters when you're trying to climb and when you're trying to play the game is not as much as like win or lose the round. It's also how much you win or how much you lose by. But if I had one more unit here, don't I kill this guy? That's a little bit of HP I can save. If I save a little bit of HP every time, that's going to equate to a whole placement. That's how you save placements. Also, is this the other bug that's happening, by the way? Whose round isn't ending? I think this is the round ending bug not working. Did that guy take damage? The person I was fighting? The mole diver? No. So it wasn't my board that was bugged. Maybe somebody else's board was bugged because the round wasn't ending there as well. We'll see. Anyways, so that's another bug if you don't know about it. I don't know how it happens, but sometimes you just have to take out a unit on your board. So GG, I guess. But like I said here, if I can get a Camille and I can get 7 multi, I'll feel pretty comfy. Nora's also a great +1 to play, by the way. And then I have a Shen now, so I can just play Shen for Bastion. It helps on my front line a little bit. I don't think I'm going to find a Camille, but we'll just play Nora. Nora's good enough. Yuumi just helps with damage. It also helps that if like my Ashe gets sniped by something, for example this Briar, she'll just live. Because she'll have some healing. But like imagine if I killed 1 extra unit. I wouldn't be 6 HP, I'd be like 8 HP. I know it doesn't matter that much in these fights. And now we fight a low roller. This is perfect. This guy I don't think can beat me. Right? This guy doesn't have Vigor 3, doesn't have Vex 3. Level 8. My Ashe should ramp up enough. Yeah, it's just easy clap here. Nice. He still lives, but that's fine. And yeah, we're just playing for a 4th. That's what I was saying. I think if you looked around at everybody, there's very few people that were like much stronger than me. Obviously, the spot for this comp wasn't the greatest. I'll say that again and again and again and again. But it's mostly just like, hey, you can try this out. This is what the comp looks like if you've never played it before, and this is like some rendition of the comp that I thought was a little bit meaningful to show everybody, because I think there's like a general consensus, especially if you're like a high elo player, that Anger Issues is pretty trash. It's been trash the whole set, But now that it got buffed a little bit and some of these comps are really good, it's starting to show up as being good in certain comps, right? There's some other very, very niche situations that I haven't tried out yet, so I don't want to speak to it and misguide people, because, like, you know, obviously it could just be an anomaly in the stats. But there's other things like Olaf, it says it's really good with. It says it's really good with certain, like, Honeyman-C lines as well. But I don't want to necessarily recommend those until I know for sure by trying it out firsthand. But yeah, we should just get 4th here. This guy had Katarina 3. This guy was very strong. My lobby itself was also very, very strong. Right? Besides the people that low rolled, we have this guy with Katarina 3 level 8. You had the Rise guy that was super stable. And you had also... Oh, did I buy the charm that let me live? Oh, that's so funny. I scammed it anyways. I bought the charm that let me live a little bit longer, I think. But the three people that are very strong in this lobby, considering my spot with the comp, if I had a good spot for this comp, I would have been so fucking strong. Because getting 4th here is insanely good. Because, like, the Katarina 3 is so strong. The hardest part about Katarina 3 is getting to Katarina 3. That guy's 6 warrior Katarina 3. Right? Like that is insanely strong. That's an insanely strong board. So we don't even, we'll take what we can get, right? We kind of hard forced this comp because we hit anger issues and we had like a little bit of a multi-striker setup, right? Because I had like a couple copies of Kassadin upgraded, I had a couple copies of everything. So it worked out for us, but you have to understand this board, the boards I'm going up against are like very strong. So we're happy with 4th here. Right? If I can get a 4th here, if I didn't hit anger issues, I didn't play multi-striker reroll, and I would have had to play like Callista or Varus with shapeshifters. Do I top 4 this lobby? You know, it's very difficult to say. It's very difficult to say. Who would know? Probably. I probably would, but it would have been a lot tougher of a game, is what I will say. And that just shows you, like, you know, if you're already in a good multi-striker spot, taking the augment is good. That's like the main takeaway of this video. You already have a spot for this comp and you're not just forcing into it like I am, you'll be pretty strong and it'll be good. This fight's not that close, right? Yeah, my front line just dies too fast. That's the biggest problem when you take anger issues, I find. I feel like the Jax just doesn't tank enough and you don't have anti-heal, so the opponent's tanks are really strong. But yeah, I think I'm playing 8 Shapeshifter Briar with Nasus 2 with Radiant Redemption. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, that looks like Exodia. Like, it literally looks like Exodia if I look at it. So, like, I don't expect to win that either. You know, I'm just a humble Ashe player, right? Playing my 1-cause reroll, trying to scam a top 4. But anyways, that's the video. I know the music cut out, but I didn't want to restart it. Very simple. It's not the most flashy thing. It was just like, you know, a simple top 4. Obviously, if you have more items that you can make more rage blades, it might work out a little bit better. If your Ashe spot is better, it will also work out better. This was something that I started this game with like 1 or 2 copies of Ashe, and I just like hard forced the line and got a top 4. In the stats, it says it's really good as well. I think it is really good. I think that you should always, just to mitigate your variance, mitigate the chance of you, like, you know, accidentally trolling and not winning out. You should definitely play towards this line when you're already playing Ashe and Jax. If you already have an Ashe and Jax and like you have a setup for that reroll, I wouldn't do it from a spot like me where I had like 1 or 2 copies of each of them on stage 3 and I just kind of committed to it. But, you know, that's the patch, right? Rerolls are strong, right? I beat lots of other boards that weren't reroll, and you know why? Because Ashe 3 is going to pump out way more damage than a lot of these other boards. So yeah, hopefully that was a fun, enjoyable video. Like I said, I'll be working on some guides starting tomorrow. I'm going to finish it up tonight and it should be out tomorrow. I'm going to do an Aura Artifact guide, and then after that, I'm not sure if it will be the day after, but sometime this week I will also do a reroll guide, so I'll go over top reroll comps, and then after that I will also do a 4-cost guide / like emblem guide, something like that. And then after that, we'll decide on what other guides to do. I'll make a poll on the YouTube, and you can also let me know in the comments if you're looking forward to anything like that. Thank you, and have a great day. See you around.